I Miss Tell It Like It Is. I hope everybody's doing wonderful out there. I'm back. I had to do my little warning video previous to this one, okay, about you all. Watch out for these damn scammers out here. They're thick, okay? But today I'm not getting ready to focus on them right now in this video. No, I'm going to focus on we live in a spirit world, okay? We live in a spirit world. We're not just living in this physical world, okay? And there are many people who know this. There are many, but then there are some people that don't know. They just look at everything from a physical, a solid, anything you can see. That's what they think is reality. But in actuality, everything that happens in this physical world happened in the spirit world first. So therefore, anything that happens in this physical world, it is not a coincidence. It is already predestined to happen first from the spirit world, and then it manifests itself in this physical world. And that is why people, you have to be careful, men and women, when you are promiscuous, when you just going around and you just sleeping with every Dick, Tom, and Harry, because you don't realize that when you sleep with someone, you're not just committing a physical act, but you're also allowing yourself to be spiritually opened up. Because when you sleep with someone, whatever's in them, it deposits into you. Because we're not just physical beings, we're spirit beings, we're soul beings, okay? And we were spirit beings and soul beings before we became physical beings, okay? So, which means like we have a spirit and soul, the next person has a spirit and soul. And when you sleep with that person, they deposit a little bit of what's in them to your human spirit. And then they take a little bit of your human spirit and it goes within them. And therefore, you have a spiritual connection between you two. Okay? That's why a lot of times you can feel what they're feeling, or they make it feel what you're feeling. A lot of times you may just think about something or someone in a day, and you may ask yourself, why are you thinking about this person? 9 times out of 10, it's because they're thinking about you. And you're just picking up on them because you have this connection. And many people that get connections with toxic people, spiritual connections with toxic people, because that spiritual energy be so strong, they think they're in love. I'm so in love. I want to walk away, but I can't. I know this person is toxic, it's not good for me, but I love them. No, it's not love. A lot of times it's more than that. It is a spiritual connection. And you've connected to whatever that person has in them, you've connected to that spirit, to that toxicity. And that energy, that soul tie is so strong. You may leave them for a day or two and find yourself back right with them. I'll tell you this story, you all. I used to date. So one of my exes, I used to date a guy. And we had a very toxic relationship. Okay. We had happy times, but it was toxic, okay, because he was very insecure. He had to know my every move. Um, when he called my place, I was really young then, really, really young. And I lived with my parents back then. He called and my sisters would answer. He would demand to talk to me. And they would be like, I'm on the phone. But he would not understand that. I will have her to call you back. He would not understand. And he would literally get into an argument with my sisters because he was that dominating and controlling and possessive. And back then I felt, you know, like I was so in love with him. I knew he was toxic, but for some reason I would leave him. In the next hour, y'all, I would be back with him. The next hour, I would find myself crying and I would be like, I don't know. I love you so much. I just can't seem to leave you. Okay. And I didn't realize that it was because his spirit, he deposited a piece of his spirit within my human spirit. I didn't realize that we had developed a soul tie. And what happens when you sleep with someone and a piece of their spirit is deposited into your human spirit, then their spirit starts communicating with your soul. And your soul, what's the definition of your soul? Where your self-will and self-love lives, okay? Your soul is what makes decisions for you. Your soul communicates and tells the body what to do. That's why it says in the word, the soul that sinneth shall surely die. But it doesn't mean that your soul is going to actually die. It just means that your soul is going to go from the light to the darkness. Your soul is going to have a spiritual death, okay? So I didn't realize that my ex that I was sleeping with, that he had deposited a piece of his spirit within my human spirit. And his human spirit that was in my human spirit communicated spiritually with my soul. And then my soul made the decision to go back to him, which means that we had soul ties. And when you have soul ties, sometimes it feels so impossible to break away from a person because you're not just dealing with a physical decision, it's a spiritual one. You have to detox from them spiritually. And I cannot tell you how I had to fast and pray. And I really had to, back then, I had to seek spiritual help to detox his spirit from being intertwined with my spirit. So my soul could make the decision to let him go. And I'm telling you, when I seek the spiritual help that I needed, I'm telling you, people, those that are spiritual, y'all know that this isn't like hocus pocus, But for some of y'all who are carnal minded, this may just like go over your heads, okay? And if it does, I'm sorry, okay? I'm explaining it the best way I know how. But I remember when I got the spiritual after the fasting and after the the crying out to my creator that I wanted to let him go because he was toxic, there was a part of me that didn't want to let him go. So it was like a tug of war. It was a spiritual battle going on within me between my spirit man and my soul man. It was a tug of war. And my mind, like in my mind, I knew, I'm like, I got to let him go. He's too toxic. I got to let him go. But I love him. It was so strong, y'all. I just felt like a strong energy, a pulling. When he wanted to be intimate with me, I didn't physically have him in my life. I went into refuge with my godmom. Okay. And I wasn't physically around him, but I could feel him pulling spiritually on my body. I could feel his spirit. I could feel my body going through these changes. I could feel myself wanting to be intimate with him, but I knew it was his spirit pulling on my spirit. So I knew I had to have a spiritual detoxification in order to be free from him spiritually, so I could be free from him physically. And it was hard because in the physical, I did really care for him. But I also knew that he was too toxic and I had to let go. So during my, I want to say, deliverance, some people may call it an exorcism. I won't go that far to say I had an exorcism, but I will say deliverance and exorcism is kind of like the same thing. You know, it's just one may be more extreme, or, you know, dealing with a higher level of, how could I say it, of spiritual intrusion. I won't even say possession. I would say spiritual intrusion. Um, but I would say I did go through a deliverance, okay? And I will tell you, through my deliverance, I experienced his human. How can I say this, y'all? I know y'all, some of y'all gonna think I'm just crazy as hell, but I don't give a damn, okay? I know what I'm talking about. Um, his spirit during the deliverance, his spirit spoke out through my mouth and said it did not want to let me go, that he did not want to let me go. But the Creator allowed him to let me go. And why? Because my soul was tired. My soul wanted to let him go. And why am I sharing this with you all? Because I talk about spiritual talk on my channel as well. But I also want to let you know, be careful who you sleep with. Be careful. Because once again, you're not just doing a physical act. You are intertwining spiritually with one another. And whatever is in that person, if that person is extremely toxic, well, guess what? That a part of that toxicity is going to become, it's going to get in your spirit. And you may find yourself feeling and acting toxic, and in ways that you like, wait a minute, this is not quite like me. No, because you have allowed that person to deposit whatever they have in them into you. You think you're just having a physical good time, but no, you're intertwining spiritually. It's more than just a physical act. So be careful. Be careful. That's all I can say, because I'm going to warn you, you know. And for those who know, you probably like, okay, yeah, I knew that. What's a confirmation to be careful? Um, it's important to, if you sleep with someone, it's important, first of all, not to be promiscuous, like sleeping with all these people, because every time you sleep with a whole group of people, well, you got a whole lot of different spirits that has connected to your spirit. Okay. So then you gonna be all, you could, depending on who you connected to, you can be all mentally messed up. Your emotions could be just going here and there, and because you have all these, just imagine, you have all these different spirits. Every time you sleep with one person, their spirit deposited into your human spirit, then another. Their spirit deposited into your human spirit, then another, then another, then another, then another. You got all these spirits within your human spirit. And just think about, all these spirits may not get along, so they get to clashing. And you're just like, really? You're just like a little puppet. You're a puppet for all these spirits to just be within your spirit, and they just all clashing. And then your soul man is demonstrating all these different spirits through your house of clay. See, a lot of people think it's the flesh. Oh, my flesh made me do. Your flesh didn't make you do anything. It's your soul. Your flesh just carried out the condition in which your soul was in. That's how a lot of people could do a lot of evil things and have no conscience, because their soul is dark and evil. And some of them don't even have a soul. Their soul just gone. They just the living dead. They can do anything to you, and they have no conscience. They have no seat of emotions, no self-will, no self-love. Because why? Evil has just came in and took them smack over. That's right. But they willed it. Remember, the Creator give you a free will. You can either accept evil or you can reject evil. But it had to be some kind of open door for evil to even get in. I'm just tell like this. We had some spiritual talk today. For y'all who love spiritual talk, hey, we in there today, okay? I talk about many things on my channel, okay? Um, and I hope you enjoyed it. Miss Tell Like This, I'm out. I'm done. Toodaloo.